Hey there, got a little bit of a rainy start this morning. That's why I'm up on the farm stand trying to stay out of the rain. But I want to talk to you guys today about planning, and not crop planning and stuff like that, but really just general farm planning. And it's something that I think gets overlooked a lot. I think people just want to get started. People really focus on other things that are important, like soil health and biology, as I said, crop planning, sales and marketing, but just overall planning on the farm is super important. And if you guys have been following along the channel, you guys know that this plan on the farm didn't just happen. This was well thought out and coming from experience that I've had over the last couple of years and my vision of the farm, and taking a lot of time to think ahead. And when it comes to my weed suppression strategy, it's part of it is no-till, as you guys know, but the big part is tarping. And so you want to make sure you're planning ahead and you have not just the plots ready to go, but you have all the other things ready to go. So a couple things I want to talk about here is that the planning really comes into play, not just having a beautiful farm and efficiency, but also in terms of labor. So for example, we're having another bed building day scheduled for tomorrow, and we need to make sure that we have everything ready so that when people show up, it's just ready to go. And I know they're volunteers, but you don't want to waste people's time, and you want to, if you are having volunteer labor, you want to be as efficient as you can with it so that you get as much done as possible. If you're paying employees, you want to make sure you're getting the most out of your, the money you're spending on them. So have everything thought out and planned is important. So, for us, when we're building blocks, you guys know, if you've been following along, we tarp the area and then we build our lasagna beds. And so we have the block that's already been tarped for a while. We just pulled off the tarp this morning, but then the rain came in. And so we're getting ready for building beds tomorrow. And so right behind me here, you can see they are working on cardboard. So they're taking off the staples and tape and everything so that tomorrow it's just ready to go. So when we have a couple more people come, it'll be as efficient as we can. It'll happen a lot faster. So for us, the bed building process, if you guys have seen, we need three things. We need cardboard, compost, and wood chips. And so we just got another load of compost delivered this morning. And we also have, we've been collecting cardboard throughout, the last couple months. So we just, every time we can get some, people donate it, people pick it up when they can. And so we should be getting some wood chips later this afternoon. But it takes some planning so that you have everything that you need. And so when you go to do the job, you're not scrambling. It's just like, okay, here's how you do it. So now that the rain has subsided, at least for a couple hours, the sun's coming out, we're gonna go get that next block ready. The layout of your farm is a great example about planning. And you guys have seen how the farm is laid out here. You guys know it's very intentional and organized, and not only is that a thing that's great because it looks good, but it's also about purpose and function. So keeping tools close to where we need to go, having good walkways, having good irrigation set up, all the things that really take planning ahead of time before you even start farming are super important. And if you don't have the experience and you really just want to get going, one thing you can consider is hiring a consultant. That's a great way to do that. Or if you have a mentor or something like that can help you. But just take your time with the planning part of it. You only get to do that once, really. It's really hard to rebuild your farm once it's already up and running. So we've taken our time with the planning here. I did all that before we even broke ground, essentially out in the field, taking measurements, drawing things up, making sure we had the right amount of growing space that you needed. All those things are important, and they just really just take some forethought and some planning. So this is the block over here. This is going to be our block F. We're putting in 5 more beds. So we just pulled the tarp off, and so we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna get it all measured out and staked and stuff, and make sure that it really is square and in the right location so that it lines up really nicely. Everything just looks really clean on the farm. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right, so if you guys have been following along with our progress here, this is the main walkway coming down this way, and so these are blocks A through C over here, and this back here will be block D, and what we're building, or setting up to build, is block F, which will be over here. And so the way we did this is we want to make sure that the end of the last block here completely lines up with the end of the block here. And so to do that, we actually just finished staking out this block over here. So we got the corners all sorted out. So again, to do that, I just took a string line down where the line has already existed with the edge of the beds, measured out our distance that we need for the next block on both sides, measured the distance between the two ends was 50 feet, and then make sure the diagonals are the same distance, and that'll give you a rectangular field block. And so now that we have that corner back here, we can work off of that and the line of beds here to get our walkway down the middle and essentially this block here. So that's what we're gonna do now. All right, so let me show you exactly what's going on in the back here. I know I talked about the process of setting up that block, and I've actually showed that in other videos too about how we square out a block. But this right here, this is the back of block D, and so what I did is I ran a string across here, and if I put the string right to where it hits there, this will be straight, and then I just measure out my 8 feet. So if I put the stake in right here, we have an 8-foot walkway down the middle, so that should give us the corner of this block. So we'll do that. We'll do a couple other measurements like this just to make sure everything's square and straight, and then we'll just do the same thing on this block with the lengths on the sides and then the diagonals. So you guys know I don't always show you everything working out. I show you the bad things too. So in the spirit of planning today, you can see that something didn't get planned very well, and that this is the corner of the field block right here. And you can see there is plenty of cover crop and weeds here that did not get covered. And that partly the reason for that was that the tarp that we covered it with was just not wide enough. We just didn't have a tarp wide enough to do that. So what we're gonna have to do is modify our plan for tomorrow. We're just gonna build 4 beds, and we will tarp this last bed until it's ready. Again, don't rush things, do things properly, because if we don't do this properly, we're gonna have weeds in this bed for so long. So we gotta make sure we take care of that ahead of time. It's starting to rain, so I'm gonna put the camera away. We got everything all staked out and marked, all the beds. So we got the 2 ends all staked out, all ready to go. And you can see over here, this is that area that did not get fully covered with the tarp before, so we're just gonna tarp it now, and we'll get to that bed when we get to that bed. There's really no reason to rush these things, because if you try to do that with farming, it doesn't work out. You have to be patient with things. So I'm gonna tarp this, do it the right way. We'll get to this bed eventually. It's just 1 bed. So we're over here prepping for tomorrow, and so we're doing a little bit of flame weeding. There's a little bit of weeds that are still up. They're pretty weak. Just gonna hit them with the flame weeder, and then we're also broad forking these beds. So then we come in tomorrow morning, we have all of our cardboards already prepped, we have our wood chips, we have our compost, the beds are already all marked out and broad forked. We can just build beds. So when we have a bunch of people here, it'll be nice and smooth and we get a lot done. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. See this bed right here? If you guys watched the last video, there's that inner plant of radish and lettuce, so that's coming along nicely. Anyways, I just wanted to sort of stress the idea of planning today. I think especially when the season picks off, you know, when spring happens and everyone's running around like crazy, trying to get everything done, it's really hard to slow down and plan. And if you're starting a farm this year or thinking about starting a farm in the future, make sure you take the time to plan things out. And if you need help with design or things like that, like either hire a consultant or, you know, find a farmer nearby and make sure that you get some help. If you feel like you can't do something, make sure you get assistance with it, because not everyone's good at everything. So just keep that in mind. And planning in terms of the farm layout and design, planning in terms of work days and labor and making things efficient on your farm. And these are all things you should think of. I've done videos on a lot of this stuff before, but I don't know, just sort of hit home today when our plan is sort of finally coming together. And again, plans don't always work out like they're supposed to. I mean, that bed that I just showed you, I mean, that was not part of the plan, but we got to roll with it and make a new plan. And just be patient, don't rush things, do things correctly. That's what I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.